Welcome to the podcast, Entrepreneurs Share Secrets with Sandra Mossman. And today I have a guest, Ozzin June.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome. So what do you do?
So my name is Ozzin and I'm a business coach based in Switzerland. I work with coaches, consultants, and service-based business owners to scale their business through messaging. And I help them all things through social media, how to scale an online business.
Perfect. How did you start? I know what you're pretty young. Can you tell me your path to this, how you choose to be a business coach?
Yeah, sure. So when I was 18, I started my whole career as a freelance artist. I was back then just dropping out of school because staying in school didn't make sense when I wanted to paint and just travel the world. So I went from one day to the other to New York and just took a flight. And in this 1 year, it was like the year of exploration. And I realized this one thing, that drawing for 10 hours on a painting is very different than a passion just for 2 hours. And I realized that something was missing. And I saw a lot of societal issues ranging from poverty in New York, religious wars, people have a lot of conflicts. And I used to think, let's do business, because firstly, I want to make money so I can help people with the tool to create more impact. And I want to use my artistic skills to solve problems. And that's what actually brought me back to university in Switzerland to my studies called design management. I got into my dream university, and quickly after 1 year in, I started to do my own side hustle, because back then I saw my mom living also under financial pressure, and I was going through horrifying moments personally, abusive relationships, and I was just so sick of it. And once I tapped in, it got me into digital marketing. And this is where I started to make my first money. And that compounded until I said, you know what, I'm going to do this full time in business. And that's where I dropped out the second time from university. And I got myself a mentor. I went all in. And from there, I achieved my success of 6 figures in 8 months and created the rest, which is right now what I do.
Perfect. So you were in the digital marketing too. Yes.
Yes.
A bit. So it was before. So right now, the digital marketing is pretty big. Yes. What did you do then?
Yeah, sure. So when I started out, I did a bunch of things in the online space. I think it was a season again when you kind of have this distractive mode of shiny object syndrome. I was in a season where I just wanted to make money. So I saw people doing e-commerce, people doing real estate, people doing digital marketing. And I was trying a bunch of things until I realized I shouldn't chase money, but what is it that makes me really fulfilled? So in digital marketing, I started to help people to build their own personal brands. I helped them to scale their audiences through different tactics and celebrity networks where people gave a shout out to each other. And at some point, I realized that I want to start my own business around that, because, business is so much more than just your personal brand. This is where it starts. But through the skills that I have compounded through trying different things, people started to ask me more questions around, hey, how did you build that funnel? How do you make money? How do you build a brand? And that's where I automatically transitioned into a business mentor. So I wouldn't say it was my choice. It just happened to be that I came to this position.
So can you tell me about your first client as a business coach? Who was it? How did you help him? How did you find your first client?
Yes. So my first client was through copywriting, digital marketing. So I help people with their messaging. And the way I did it was, after I hired my mentor, I was told to create content every day. So for me, it was very new, because it was very awkward going from a couple of Facebook friends and family to start my own business. But I started to speak every single day about my offer, telling people, I help you with the messaging. This is the transformation that you can get. And in the first 1-2 months, it was really silent. So nobody really asked me to buy from me. But I just kept going. And then one day, and it was about 2.5 months later, my first client reached out, and that became my first $5,000. I was back then super happy. And then I had my second and third client that was at 10,000. And I helped both of these clients to start their own coaching business in terms of their high ticket offer. And I think the most important thing I've really learned is that you have to start. And now when you learn through this client, you get better at the coaching skills and at everything. So it was for me a very great win.
So your first offer was a messaging. You helped them to find create the message.
Yes. So it was because messaging, it ties in also with the offer. Holistically seen, I helped them to launch their own coaching business. So in order to do that, we needed to define what is your offer? What is the transformation you went through? What do you feel confident in teaching at? So I looked at on the discovery call on like what the person can monetize. And then from there, we have to craft the message. Like, how do you speak to your ideal dream clients? And then from there, the different frameworks that I teach in order to call them forward. So it's like a holistic spectrum on how to price and align it also through what you do and bring it out there.
And your first clients, were they like a business, or it was maybe health or like fitness, or it was just all who offer same business coaching?
Yes. So in the very beginning, I started to speak to aspiring entrepreneurs. So it was like people, especially like women I've attracted that didn't have a business before, but they just had an idea. They knew they wanted to, get out of their 9-to-5 job. And I told them, like, I dropped out of university. I made my own money here. I can teach you how to get to your first $10,000 a month. Let's create a business around your passion. So that was the offer. And I was just like calling forward people in Switzerland where I was in. And then it started to grow internationally. And the niche became very, various differently. Somebody was into fitness. Somebody was more a spiritual life coach. And whatever that niche was, the principle was always the same. As long as it changes somebody's life, we can put a price tag on and then articulate your messaging in a way that they feel seen. So they reach out to you. And it's exactly what I did with my clients.
And when you started, you mentioned what you started on your Facebook or your personal page, or you created your separate Facebook page?
I started on my Instagram and my Facebook mainly. So it was just these two platforms. And I also got all my clients through these two platforms. As I go later, I started to expand my omnipresence also on LinkedIn, YouTube, and my podcast. But I always say to people, like, don't overwhelm yourself, like pick your platform and then start there to post.
And you started with your personal, you didn't create a separate business Instagram or a Facebook page.
No, it was just really my personal brand.
And it wasn't like, you didn't think that there will be like some of your friends and family who maybe they don't want to listen this information?
Well, it's their problem. I just like tell people, like, if you don't like what I do, like unfollow me, because I think it's a funny thing that a lot of the clients that I've also mentored, especially aspiring entrepreneurs, they have the beliefs and they wouldn't post or implement. So after them paying me 10 grand, I was like, yeah, you better implement. You just pay me so much money. You want to change your life. And if you care about your legacy as much as you care about what other people think, you would be already by now a millionaire. So let's take action. And that's kind of like, in the beginning was very awkward. I was super shy. I had a lot of like self-image issues, and that held me back. But as I go and I did my first and second video, like my videos started to suck less and it became more professional as I go. So I think that is really important.
So I know so many people don't want to post in their personal Instagram or Facebook because they don't want to, again, show it to friends and family, or maybe to not say interested. So you're kind of telling them like, you're paying me so much, why you would care? Yes, this is like your argument for them just to post it.
I mean, I always like think for people, like, what is your priority? Like, I know people who are in their corporate job, and if you are on LinkedIn and you post it while you're in a job, I know for some people it can come with challenges and difficulties. can lose your job. So in that way, you have to like, there's no one size fit, but like you have to prioritize like, how can I go about it and be a bit strategic. So for some people in corporate, I recommend them, instead of maybe being on LinkedIn, maybe do a new Instagram page and start to share your know-how and things there. Because fact is, you're not forced to do anything, but in order to do a business, you have to make sure that your visibility is your own responsibility. So if no one sees you and knows that you exist, people will not come to you, and therefore you cannot make money. So I have no argument for people, but I just tell them like there is a belief that is right now holding you back, and you have to like come and unwrap all your shames and your thoughts onto the table before we even can start. And I think that's really important to get to your goals.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So your first client came from your personal Instagram or Facebook page after 2.5 months of posting every day, and it's how you got your kind of first customer. Yes. And the benefit was you had like very clear offer what you do, because right now there's so many business like consultants and they don't have like what exactly they offer. So how did you found your offer? Like how did you create your offer?
Yes, in the beginning, it's very important that you just start with something that you feel really confident in teaching. Usually I tell people, like, firstly, what's one of the transformation you went through, whether it's in health, in relationships, maybe you overcame toxic relationship, or you lost weight, or you got healthy from a chronic sickness, whatever it is. And then number two, I think that sometimes one of the things I observe is that you're sometimes so close to your zone of genius that you don't appreciate it enough. So then people think, oh, I do have skills, but maybe I cannot make money with that. And that's a limitation. So what comes easy for you is usually the thing that is your $1 million skill set. And sometimes even if you have weaknesses, you can turn them into your best friends and your best skill set. So when I started out, I had no clue about business. I didn't know how to build it. So I was thinking, how can I be a business coach if I don't know how to build it? So I had to start with something that I know. So while I was doing digital marketing, studying, serving people, I've learned to make my first income. So I just told people, hey, what I can do is to craft an offer for you, so you can launch it. I'm very strong with creative concept as an artist. And that was the first client. And then as I go, I've gained so many more skill set. And that's why my offers kind of evolved. And also throughout the coaching career, I think one of the things is important that you don't marry into your offer, because as you change, your offers can sometimes up level. Mm-hmm. So that is really important to know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I think maybe I got from your Instagram what it's important to, or somewhere I heard it, that you need to tell your offer like over and over again until somebody buys it. Like you can't like change it. And this one and this one is kind of like you always like, you're very consistent with your offer. You should be.
Well, when it comes to that, there's a couple of things to talk about. So when you're very new in business and depending on where your sales is, if somebody tells me I'm below 10, 20K and I just like really want to make more revenue, I wouldn't really suggest to come with 10 different offers, because it's going to confuse yourself and it's going to confuse the audience. So I always say the rule of like choose one offer, choose one platform, one audience, one system for 1 year. So it's my 5 system rule, and that's your pathway to million. However, if later you evolve and let's say you have 1 or 2, 3 offers, sometimes these offers, they can be really greatly combined. So for example, I have a messaging offer where I tweak their copy, but I also have a leadership program, because you need to become the person that really shows up more potent and more consistent. So these 2 offers go really well, or my offer creation, and there you can put it out there. So the number 1 key is to ask yourself, what's right now my revenue goals? What is the experience I want? And then from there, choose what is that one thing I want to sell out in the next 2 months. And then just repeat that. And then as you go, you can anytime come with a second offer in the second month. But if you're all over the place, just start with 1 and then you can always add.
But this is sometimes people create this offer and they try it for some time and it doesn't work. And then they want to change the offer. So how do you go with this?
Well, again, there are two ways. Either there are offers that I've definitely did also in my career that sometimes didn't work out. It just happens. But the thing is, only because people didn't sign up right away you launch doesn't mean that the offer is bad. Sometimes, again, people need to see your offer multiple times. And it's also the rule of like when people binge watch you, it takes at least 8 hours until somebody becomes a true fan of yours. So that is like when you have really loyal people, but it can take you only a few posts if you know how to message people to get them into your DMs. So what I say to them is like, when you have an offer, like really show up for the next 1-2 months. And if you don't make the sale, then maybe change your message. You know, like you have to sell in different ways. Maybe you didn't articulate in that way. And another thing is also that the reason why most people don't make sales is that they are too vague and it doesn't activate people to buy from you. And that comes from not addressing the things that your ideal clients go through. So you have to speak into their behavior. What are they experiencing in their day-to-day life, right? So you don't just like speak about, hey, do you want more confidence? DM me confidence. Or, hey, you want to level up your life, or you want to be in a better relationship, or you want to be more in shape. That's very vague. So we have to be more specific. Like if you want to lose weight and feel more energized without all these diets and restricting yourself, you see the chocolate cake and you feel like you're restricting yourself. Like this is my method and my story, how I changed this. And I changed 500 people through my XYZ formula. So that is really important to speak about the behavior and symptoms.
Mm-hmm. So when I was in the business for 3 years as astrologer and feng shui consultant, my biggest issue was that I created this offer from my own head. It's like, oh, something people will like this offer. But how do you, like, you have your you told like your first offer you create from your strengths, like something what you're really confident about. Mm-hmm. So how you create you're very good in it, and also what people would like to have, because we usually need to come from people what people want to have.
Yes, I think it's a two-way street because the offer also need to fit into the market. So it's like you have to test the offer. I think the biggest mistake is that people build out their course and everything, and then you launch it and then nobody buys. No one gives a shit about what you do. So there is a thing where I always say, like, before you build anything, let's just test it. Like, let's put already social media posts out there and share about the thing that you truly want to help people. Because in the moment, the thing is right now, I could be also doing many different things. Like I could be having like 10,000 like different offers in different areas, but only because you could doesn't mean that you should. So at the end of the day, you are the main catalyst that runs the business. So you better choose something that is sustainable for you. And you will always have people that, as long as your offer is specific enough, that desire your help. So that's why there are like people in the coaching space that I've helped who are, you know, helping like new actors to break into Hollywood. Other people are like in weight loss. Other people are like life coaches and help women to break like toxic patterns in their relationship. So the thing is, the interest is there. Because there are, oddly speaking, 1 billion people out there who have different issues. But you need to know and test it as well and learn how to articulate your zone of genius.
In our pre-interview, you talked interesting how you find your niche, or like no target. I think a target audience. You have like different way how you do it.
Yes. So in the beginning, I got told a lot from my coaches, find your niche. And it was a typical tip that sometimes really confused me because I didn't know who was my niche. I thought in the beginning it was aspiring entrepreneurs and coaches, and that's whom I served. And then later I helped coaches who were already advanced, like people who made already a certain level of income. But as I go, I realized that doing niche is really not good. So a better way to monetize is to focus on your dream client avatar. A dream client avatar is a way more specific than a niche, because niche speaks to a group of people, for example, like technical people or executives or CEO. But in the dream client avatar, you're speaking about a very specific persona who is stuck at a very specific point. So maybe that one executive that you want to help or a CEO, maybe they already have a website, they have a branding, they're doing really good in business, but they don't know how to articulate themselves forward to multiply their sales. So they're stuck in a very specific journey and they're not maybe in the beginning. So when you know that, you can speak into the traits of your dream ideal clients. And as an example, I can tell some of my clients were not income-wise where they wanted to be. Like they weren't making $10,000 or $20,000 a month, but their emotional intelligence, their leadership, the way their mindset was evolved was speaking already on that level. So I knew, okay, this person just needs the strategy. They need to show up in that way and know the know-how, and they would be making a way more money. So that's really one thing. And then on the other side, if you want to build a global brand, it's way more important that you go more than niche. So instead of that, come up with content pillars, topics that you feel passionate about. For example, my brand, I speak also about, apart from personal branding and messaging, I speak also about productivity and efficiency. I love efficiency, so I come with the things. I speak also about my boyfriend, about an empowered couple that achieves the dream together. I love health topics and spirituality. So you can speak about 4 or 6 different topics because you are more than your niche. And the problem with niche is that most people sometimes they outgrow their niche because one day you're maybe not passionate about anymore what you do. So you are more than that. And that's why we want to blend in. So you have the monetization strategies around very specific client avatar, but you also blend in other topics. So it's bigger than that.
Mm-hmm. I feel that niche is more broad than this avatar.
Yes. That's why I was saying, like, because it's so broad, we want to be more specific because then your clients, they feel more heard and seen and activated to come to you. But when we speak about general topics around what I just mentioned, about spirituality, about your relationships, then you're reaching a bigger audience. So not everyone in my bigger audience will be my client, but it's the message that my brand stands for. So I do a mix of both things. So I get to build my community in a way that I really love.
And how do you, because sometimes can be a problem that you are too small. Like if you like perfect, like this avatar is very small and it's maybe don't have so many people who watch for this avatar, or you try to make it bigger than a little bit.
I think this is a belief that a lot of people hold. So in the very beginning, I had also hesitation to really get to very specific on the dream client avatar because I thought that I would be missing out sales. You know, like I thought like I can speak to everyone. I can help women. I can help coaches. I can help you and another. Like I was just helping everyone. But the problem with that was that it sometimes did work, but I felt like it was not really increasing my sales like to the levels I wanted. And it wasn't until I really got clear, like who can I specifically help out at what level? And when you do that, you would be surprised how many people in your audiences are already your dream clients and they are calling like forwards from the message itself. So I think it is also a courage to do that because when you niche down, the people, they feel more credible about who you help, what you do. And in that way, I could stack up very specific testimonials for my niche, showing people, look, this other woman was in the exact same position like you. And that's what we did instead of like being too vague and generic. So I think it's important to do that. And then again, as you go, you're never married to your offers or to your niche. Like one day you can change that as well. So I think you just have to try out, explore, and then from there, evolve as you go.
So how did your this avatar change over time? Who it was in the beginning and how it's right now is looking?
Yeah. So in the very beginning, I think I was like more speaking to people from lack and very beginning in terms of their journey. So it was still a good experience, but I've learned that working with people who are in lack of money, they are really in pain, they are not really in abundance, that it is a different client experience because those people, they came to me, sometimes they paid me money to make quick fixes or they expected certain things that are like, you know, a magic pill. And I think one thing I've really learned is to set expectations really straight and to tell them that the only guarantee for your success is the guarantee you give to yourself. So all the things around coaching, giving guarantees, you will make X money in X days. I used to do this type of marketing. And again, big cash injections can happen. But I think I've changed my messaging more towards like, take your own self-leadership. I want clients that are self-led. I want to speak to that woman who is ready, like you're ready to invest and to change. I don't want to like do baby marketing because then you call out babies. You have to handhold them. You have to like be always around them. And clients who are in lack, they will be more painful to you and energy draining. And the moment I shifted my messaging, speaking into people's power, speaking into empowerment without shaming people, I think this is where a lot of the clients were already successful. And they just came to me with abundance saying, hey, I'm already doing really good, but I want better. I want greater. And I want to amplify sales. So it's like two different clients that I just shifted to.
Mm-hmm. So could you say that the more you grow as a business coach, the better or like more successful people come to you because you have more experience then?
Well, I think in one way it can be yes, because when your experience and credibility grows, obviously you can reach more other people and you gain more authority in that. But I also think you shouldn't limit yourself. So even if you're a beginner and you're saying, hey, I'm really good with videography or you're really good with editing videos, whatever it is, like you don't necessarily need to target the people in the beginning. Like you can say from the get-go, I'm helping like millionaires or I'm helping people in tech entrepreneurs at this income, at six-figure income, to scale their business through more video content. So at the end of the day, I think when you just start, like just choose who are your favorite clients. And you only know who your favorite clients are when you just start the work. And then as you go, just speak to your favorite clients, the traits that they bring, what you enjoyed the most, and you will call forward more of them. So you don't need to limit yourself for like beginners or something.
Mm-hmm. So if somebody wants to be as a business coach again, they need to find where their strength is right now. Maybe if they didn't have, for example, they didn't have a business success or they did the business like, I don't know, they don't have like successful business before. So they need to find their strength and then they can, where they're very confident. And from this strength, they find the clients. And as they find the clients, they grow as a business coach, learning other areas of business.
Yes. Or a different way is that I have, for example, clients who are in the fitness industry, and that fitness coach was just helping people, you know, with nutrition, exercises, helping women to feel more fit. So she was not teaching anything about business. It was purely fitness. But the good thing is, as her fitness business became really big, she automatically also knows how to run a business. So ironically speaking, later she had two offers. So she was helping women in business, in fitness. And at the other side, she can tell people, hey, through my fitness coaching business, I've learned how to have a great offer. I know how to do marketing, and I can help you with that as well. So it really doesn't matter. I think the most important thing is that you just start with something that you feel confident right now to teach. And an example of that was, don't minimize your wins. Because in the beginning, when I didn't make the money that I make right now, I just used to celebrate, hey, I got like 2 sales calls this week. Like, hey, I will teach you how to book sales calls. And then when I had my first 5,000 client, I would just say, hey, I made my first 5,000 on LinkedIn. I will show you how. So it's like this little milestones that you monetize, and then you can show people instead of waiting until you're a millionaire. I think many people, they wait until they're really up there, but you have to start small and then help as you go.
I love it. I love it. So tell me about your closure. So how you started in the beginning, you had the sales calls. Do you still do the sales call, or now is the industry change how people close the deals, especially high tickets level, like tickets, how they close it?
Yeah. So the industry does many things. So you have to just like follow, like, what do you want? Because there are coaches, they do sales calls and it goes really well. And other people, they hate sales calls. They don't want to waste their time and they don't do it. Fact is, everything works, every strategy works. So in the very beginning, I used to do sales calls on Zoom whenever people inquired. And I used to hate sales call because I was very shy. I was like I didn't like it. I didn't like to speak about money, but I knew I had to learn sales. So I've invested a lot in terms of mentorship, books, and I've learned all about sales. And as I did that, it served me in the beginning a lot to get my clients, to get to my first 6 figures. But then after, as I go by, I also realized it takes a lot of time. So when more people inquire and I get on a sales calls and some of them wouldn't turn out my clients, it was still a good training for me, but I also felt like I want to travel. I want to spend time with my boyfriend and family. So that's where I learned an approach of passive sales, where you have a funnel, and a funnel can be simple, built on like ClickFunnels or on your Kajabi. There are many tools, and it's the most feminine thing that you can do, because a lot of women, they're like, oh, funnels, structure system sounds really boring, not for me. And I used to be the same because I'm a very wild artist and I'm like, whatever, I'm just flowing. But in order to maintain revenue, when you build one funnel, the good thing is, as a woman, you can just focus on posting. You can focus on selling, on telling your story, being your feminine. And the money comes in by people just clicking on the link, and you can make money in your sleep. So I think doing this shift was for me very huge in terms of how it freed up my time. But I always say to people in the beginning, when you start with sales calls, it can be great because you also do market research. You learn about your customers as well. And then anytime, if you want, you can switch to the sales calls, to hop off from the sales calls. Mm-hmm. And the only time where I do have calls or meetings is when I do like really customized deals where it's like a bigger company approaching me, or if it's like things with my boyfriend I do in real estate, that's different. But in coaching, most of the time we do it without sales calls.
Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, you also had the funnel, or you had the, like in the beginning,
No.
You had a little bit sales calls, and when you switched to the funnel, when you had like very clear offer, or you knew like this funnel works?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I didn't have funnel. I didn't have Facebook group. I really said to people, no website, no funnel, nothing. Like, we start organic, no paid marketing. It's just you and your phone and the Wi-Fi and one offer, and just repeat that. And that worked because simplicity is really key. And that was also my marketing strategy, because people in the online space, they make things too complicated and then they don't do anything. So my simple formula resonated with a lot of coaches out there. But then as I go, I was like, okay, it's cool to make some money there and there and to have big cash injections. But I also felt my income was an up and down, like roller coaster. And I was like, one day I'm rich and the other day I'm poor, and I cannot rely on that. So that's where I've learned to create a funnel, a system, because and then I created my different offer flow suite. So this is where I have high ticket for one-on-one. I started to have a masterclass where I sell for $111. I started to have mid program for $997. So I would have different people coming in, and people, when they love your low mid ticket offer, they usually instantly upgrade to the high ticket. And I think that's really important, that what I also do uniquely different than coaches is that I teach people to do low mid ticket in a very premium way, because people think, oh, the cheaper it is, the cheaper probably the service is. But there's a lot of business coaches, they give you really shitty things for low ticket. And I always tell people, you have to speak like in the analogy, is when you go as a woman to a beauty shop and you want to buy a cream, you probably want to have a sample. And if that sample of that cream is really shitty, you wouldn't buy it. You wouldn't buy the $200 product. So you have to make sure that the sample is really good and premium, and that everything that you build is for that one dream client. So once they come in for your $12 program, people say, oh my God, that's for me. So millionaires upgrade. And that's why the level of that and to know your offer flow is very important to build a more sustainable business.
Mm-hmm. So what's your offers is right now? What's your like 119 and like 997 and then like 10,000? This is your offers right now?
No, I have like different offers with like I have from every price point different offers. So right now I'm running a branding masterclass. That one is free. So sometimes I do like hosting free masterclasses, but I also have at the back end like an offer suite where you can join the inner circle, which is all type of programs. You get world-class leadership, you get the money mindset, you get my content frameworks. So it's basically you want from A to Z everything and learn about that. Or you can either come in and say, I want that one masterclass which speaks about content. So I have messaging for millions, which is for people to recognize who is my dream client, how can I amplify my sales. So it's like 90 minutes, $111 where people can buy. And then I have like my $12 product. It's called It Factor. It's really about for people. I really realized that you have to build your own brand movements. And we talk a lot about strategy and content. But the thing that makes people really successful is really about leadership and for companies as well. And there I speak about owning your own unique gifts. You have to know your it. It's no longer a consistency issues because a lot of the women that I work with, they have been consistent a lot. They show up, they post, they're super hardworking, but their income is still not there where they want to be. So that shows the root issue is deeper. You have to show up more potent, more in your power and more articulate. And that's what the it factor covers. So usually people just go to my offer suite to the link and they see what's available. They sign up for what they want. Or some people say, I want to first see your free masterclass and then see if that's for me.
Mm-hmm. So you offer the free masterclasses too, yeah?
Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then you have free masterclasses and you have like $12 offer, some different, and then you have again like different price points.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Another question is, you told like your first sale was $5,000.
Yes.
How did you work to? Because I think like so many people who are not very confident. How you found you're confident to sell something for $5,000? Is your first client?
I think that in the beginning, a lot of like coaches, they tell you like start small or help people for free, and I just never resonated with them because back then I just needed to make money. So I was like, I want to go out there, and this is about premium transformation. So when I hired that coach for $10,000 back then as well, he told me like, what does your gift and your offer, how does it transform people's life? Like, what would be the price tag of that? And I was like, well, if the person would know the skill set, they would be able to repeat $10,000 months. It would help them in their health, in their relationships, how they do things. And honestly, all the value combined, it is worth more than $5,000. I mean, that's worth like for me, like 50,000 and beyond. So it is just the perception about your offer. I think that, again, you sometimes undervalue your own gifts and you think, oh, like I'm not good enough yet. Who am I to charge this? And so on. But it's also, you have to make a choice. Like, I have this unique gift. I'm going to transform somebody's life so much. It's an investment, not just into themselves. It's for their surrounding, their partners. They're changing everyone. And the price tag would be beyond millions. So 5,000 is really not that much for what we do. And you have to just tell the price, and then you just shut up. You just hold to it, because people try to justify, they try to explain, they feel insecure. So I've just learned, show up with confidence, even if you're really scared. And then when you do it once or twice, you suddenly gain a lot of momentum, and then you get used to it. So it was a jump for me. And then charging suddenly $10,000 was another jump. And I was like, who am I again to do that? But then when I help a client successfully and they made a lot of more money and success, I was like, okay, time to up level. And this is always where I focus on the value. And I always tell people there is no crazy price in this world, because it always depends what you get back in return for it. And that's how you can do high ticket sales. And it's usually easier to make high ticket sales than low ticket. People usually don't doubt. They just pay and say, okay, how can we get started? And that's where I was really passionate about, like, teaching people high ticket service.
Mm-hmm. And how do you work with that? People pay you $10,000 and then they expect what they will make much more, or you or your offer is more against the leadership, the quality is what you change, or you promise them like income increase?
Well, when people sign up, I never promise something. Again, this comes down to my beliefs of like not giving people these guarantees or promises that is not in my power. Because in the beginning, I had also business coaches teaching me tactics, saying you should promise people to make a certain amount of money in certain time. And I think in terms of ethical things, it didn't click with me, because fact is, you can be the best coach in the world, but if people don't do the work, it is like people would blame you, but it's actually their fault because they should put in the work and take ownership. So just like differentiating that and knowing you should not carry your clients' results. You're here to lead in your power. You invite your clients to lead in theirs. And this is where you show up, you do the things, and you teach them the stuff that they should implement. And then once they do, I feel that the people, they don't need the guarantee, because fact is, in the moment you invest, I always say energetically, you made the ROI already back, because it lifts you up, like it moves you. And then also on the other side is that I always invest with a mindset that the ROI of this course will pay off over my whole lifetime. So at the very beginning, as a new entrepreneur, I used to think if I invest $10,000, I must make at least 10,000 in the first month or in the next 90 days. Mm-hmm. So I always had this limiting time frames, but now my investor mindset has changed. Now I know if I make 10,000 investment or 20,000 investment, I know it will compound over a lifetime to millions and billions. So I'm going to be grateful anyway. And also the irony is, when people take the leadership course and program that I do, it's not that their traits and their emotional intelligence just grows. It also grows their income more than sometimes strategy does. So I tell people through my leadership course, the client feedback I get is that people say, I'm in a better relationship and marriage with my partner. Your leadership is not just about messaging and income, but I feel more success and fulfilled in what I do. So I think it's really important to articulate that.
Mm-hmm. I see. How did your marketing changed over time? So you mentioned you have like Facebook group right now. You do the paid marketing too? Or like what's...
I don't do right now paid marketing. So my marketing has changed in terms of, I think the biggest shift was really the funnels that I did, and then the messaging, because when you don't do sales calls, you have to be more specific in your message. So because when you don't have sales calls, like you can remain vague and then you jump on a call to explain them. But I think the purpose of a funnel is to tell really what people are buying, because people don't buy into confusion. And then from there, I just have the links up. And when people reach out, here's the link. And then they just pay me by PayPal or other like payment processors. I just get the money, the funds first. And then from there on, I would get on a call with them, or they got the direct access to the course.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you don't do the paid marketing. You did the paid marketing then, yes, before? So
I mean, no, I didn't.
Never did?
I never did paid marketing. Okay. So I build everything like organic marketing for free. Okay. And I help people in writing their copies for their paid marketing. I think for some businesses who prefer that, like it is also an art that, you know, with organic, you can test of what already works. And then with paid, you can amplify of what's already going on. And the biggest mistake with business owners is that, and it really hurts my heart so much, that a lot of people, they spend so much money on paid ads when they don't have a foundation and their messaging is really like not good, not speaking to their clients. So it's really like what you cannot build organic is very hard to build with paid.
And you have Facebook group too.
Yes, I also have a Facebook group.
When did you start it, and what's the reason you started Facebook group?
Well, in the beginning, I didn't do the Facebook group because I just made my sales from my Instagram post and that's it. But then, you know, I knew and understood the power of community. And I've learned from a coach who had also a Facebook group to say, give the value to people, nourish your group, you can increase your sales. So it was a test that I did. And honestly, even like right now, I think that through the Facebook group, sometimes people DM me privately and say, hey, I saw your offers and things, I'm really interested. But I also feel without the sales book group, I'm still successful in what I do. So it's for me just, here's an exclusive community, let's grow it there. but I feel that my community is just in it itself on social media. So that's something that I just added on. And then when people pay, they just get into my paid community of other clients, and they can network as well.
So you have paid community, and it's monthly kind of subscription?
No, it's not a monthly subscription. It is that if you're my coaching client, for example, you get just access to the group.
I see.
And to my programs, and that's it. And I have also my inner circle that you can pay on a monthly basis. So instead of 10,000 for everything for 1 year, you would pay 997 a month. So in that way, it would be subscription. But yeah, it's just like for my paid clients.
So for 10,000, you've worked with them for 1 year?
Like, well, back then I used to work 10,000 for with people for 90 days. I had in the beginning a lot of like more coaching programs limited to 3 months. And then as I go, I started to also initiate long-term mentorship, because 90 days is really nothing compared to building a business. And it's just really the start. And that's where I told people, like, let's do 6 months, let's do 1 year, because we get to implement more. And then like from there, combine it with the trainings that I do.
And how much is your mentorship then?
Okay, so right now I have a special like one-on-one offer going on for the VIP season. So it's like $15,000 for 3 months, or $25,000 for 6 months, or people pay $45,000 for 12 months. Now, again, the prices can always change because I always up level and I make sure that my zone of genius matches to the offer that I do. And then alongside, they can choose to have either the programs included when they do my mentorship, or to just like buy the program separately if they don't want the one-on-one work.
I see. Can you tell me about your team, who you have on your team right now, and how your team changed?
In my team right now, I don't have anyone along, just like one assistant that helps me with admin work. I used to have a team where I had a success coach. I had 4 appointment setters and sales reps that did the calls for me. And that was built because, again, I saw other coaches having a big team, and they said you must have a team to scale it really high. But I also quickly realized it's not the way that resonated with me, because I didn't want to build a company to manage, for my coaching business at least, like 10 different people. I knew I can build $1 million movement just by being with myself, and maybe with 1-2 assistants for graphic design, for video edit, or some small things. So once it didn't resonate, I just let go of these people, and I changed the format and structure of my coaching. So it was just like me doing the things, and it resonates way better now, because I just feel I can wake up, do my things. I've got my funnels. I don't need sales rep because there's no sales calls. I just need myself for the messaging, and that's what I enjoy more personally.
So what's your experience with the appointment settings as a business coach?
Well, appointment setting is something in the beginning that I didn't really know how. I think that I was always like articulate with people or charming in terms of network, but then making the money in your DMs does require an art on how to write. And in the beginning, I was over giving myself in the DMs, trying to help everyone, trying to be really kind. When someone was like not having the money, I would offer them tons of discount, or like being like very like nice. But then I've also learned like you have to also honor your prices, stick to your own standards. And that's like where I've learned how to message in the DMs, and then also know that when you hold your power and your frame instead of over giving all the information, people are curious, and when they know what they will get, but they're still curious enough about, hey, how does she do? People usually buy into the things that you do.
So you still do the people still do the DM to you, like message you in the Instagram, and do you close sometimes there too in the DMs?
Well, yes, all my closes right now, they either come from DMs or directly from the signups through either my masterclasses that was for free and I upsell them, or it was a paid masterclass, so I don't need to be present. So they just find the link and then they sign up. So that's like the easiest way. When people reach out, I usually ask them like, what's your interest? Like, are you looking right now for one-on-one coaching? Where are you at? So I just ask them a little bit. And then when they tell me what they go through and what what their goal is, I can guide them better what program or what thing would make more sense. But if people really want that I have my eyes on their business, I help you to write the content, do the things with you and for you, then it probably would make sense the one-on-one, because it's just like fast track. But if people want to warm up and they want to learn certain basics, like they can have a taster experience going through one program where they're stuck.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And how do you see right now that if right now we have a little bit of financial crisis, do you see what something change in the people, how people spend money? For example, maybe people want to have more group coaching than like one-on-one, or maybe people want to have more personalized like experience. Do you see something change in this industry?
Well, I think that, personal crisis and like economics and things, it is a true reality, but I think it shouldn't like determine how you should run your business. While the macroeconomics is important to know as an entrepreneur to make decisions, I think at the end of the day, if you don't want to do group coaching calls, it would be probably not a good idea to do it, because you wouldn't feel inspired, and people can feel when you're not 100% in. But if you say like, the way I want to run my business and the offer should always be based, what experience do you want? So instead of saying, I want to make a certain number of like income, like 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 or 100,000. It's not about the number. It's what do you want to experience? So in my case, I wanted to experience, as I was scaling more, I want to wake up to money. I want email notifications of people daily paying me without me being on a call. I want to have more freedom on my calendar. I don't want to be like on 6 different calls and 6 different meetings and then another group call. It would be too stressful. I want to travel the world with my boyfriend. So I determined all the experiences, and based on that structure, we can now build your coaching format. So what makes sense? You want to wake up to daily notifications of money. What does that mean? We need a funnel for you where people can pay you passively as well. Mm-hmm. And for somebody that I know, another coach, she's very much into interactive learning. She does cohorts. She does like Tuesdays and Thursdays trainings live with people. And that's her style. It's not my style right now because I'm in a season where I travel a lot as well. So you just have to do what works for you in this season. And then from there, you can anytime structure your things as you level up.
Mm-hmm. And how often do you do the free masterclasses then? Do you like monthly?
It depends. Sometimes I do it monthly. Sometimes I do it every second month. So right now, I would say the rhythm is rather every second month that I launch a free masterclass. And then the rest, they would see from my other free sources. I have sometimes other PDFs or guidelines where people can download. But masterclass are every 2 months.
Mm-hmm. And did you heard about this saying, coach for coaches? Like when like coach the coaches and coaches and coaches. Did you heard about it?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yes. So what you can say about it?
Well, I think that a coach, I mean, it doesn't matter what you do in life. I think it is important that you have somebody that you look up to and learn, because even though it sounds really maybe for some people ridiculous or funny, like, oh, a coach is a coach. It's a coach of the coach. And it's like a domino effect. I think that whilst yes, but it also makes sense, because if you don't invest into yourself and you never learn and stay updated, I feel it's also like harder for you to make the money. So in my journey, I always make sure that I have a mentor. So right now I have a mentor. I have mentors in very specific areas, whether it's for messaging or I learned something about Facebook. So I hire these people in my life, or in fitness or things in my health. I have a health coach. So these people, they help me in those areas so I can pour into other people better. And other people who don't have a coach, again, you can still do your stuff. You don't need a coach. But I think it's also that the power of mentorship, usually you don't know what good leadership looks like until you have great role models and examples to replicate that. So I think it's very important to have these people around.
So what kind of 3 tips you can give to somebody who want to be a business coach, for example?
So the first tip is that you have to own your self-worthiness and your zone of genius. You must understand that you're really a big deal before anyone thinks that you really are. And even if you do masterclass or offers and people are not showing up, or you have only 2 or 3 viewers, I always tell people, like, show up as if there is a whole stadium of 1,000,000 people. Like, you want to speak as if you're a star, and just repeat that, because that will become your reality. And then number 2, what is the thing that gives you energy? So sometimes if you don't know your passion, just change the questions. What's the thing that distracts you the most? What keeps you late night at your tiptoes and you keep working on it? For me, it's always been empowering people. It's been creating content. I always enjoyed that. And I think you embody your purpose already. And then look, who can you serve with these things? Like, who is the person that walks up to you and says, thank you so much, you changed my life? What's the topic that you can speak about for 2-3 hours nonstop? And who would the person be? And then you can start to compound and serve people.
Mm-hmm. And how people could work with you? Like, what's like any listeners who like listen to this podcast, how they would like to work with you, or like what will be benefit to work with you?
Yeah, sure. So there are a couple of ways to work with me. One of the ways is that you either can sign up to my inner circle, which is one of the best deals, honestly, because all the value is stacked up is over 50,000. I teach you all things from reprogramming your minds to receive more money, to also have fully embodied success around your leadership as well. I've learned you content conversion strategies for your business, your offer flow, how to have a business in the structure that is sustainable to you. So you get access to all the things for lifetime access within the 1 year that I create. So every new program that I do within that 1 year from you joining, you get it automatically included. Mm-hmm. Then my other way is that if you want the one-on-one support with me, where I build the business with you, you can sign up for 3, 6, 12 months or longer, depending on your needs. And the inner circle as a long-term client would be included for you. So you get the whole spectrum. And if you want only one masterclass and you're not really sure, is that for me or not, you can also just sign up for one specific program and then feel a taster and then upgrade.
And how much is the inner circle right now?
Yes. So the inner circle right now is 10,000 paid in full, or you can pay 997 per month and then join the inner circle.
Perfect. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Ozzin. I think.
Thank you so much.
For me, the hour went so fast. It's just like so interesting to listen to you.
Yes, it was really fast. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.